Hey everybody, Dr. Wade Hampton here, and the motivational thought for today is you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience by which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through that horror or that difficult time. I can take the next thing that comes along. I lived through it, and I can take the next thing that comes along. That's an interesting thought. Well, I better leave the glasses on. I got notes here. Um, I look back at the tough coaches I had over the years, and I believe they molded my character such that when I got to the point in my life that was the hardest, most difficult point in my life, I remember saying to myself, you survived Coach Richard, NCAA Division I, swimming 10 miles a day. You can live through this. And that's kind of what this is about, a smaller example. I started swimming at age 7 in a summer league, so to speak, and then I started swimming at age 8 in a more regional area, and we had a coach named Coach Green. He was a tough guy, and I believe he carved and molded my character into being a stronger young man, even at that ripe young age. I remember some other coaches that were tough. There was a guy that was a former Vietnam veteran. He wasn't such a good coach, but he was tough, and he'd throw things at us, and I think he pulled me out of the pool by my hair one time. Not very nice, but I remember him, and he was tough. We had a football coach one time. I also played football, and this guy, he'd hit us with a forearm in the face mask in the helmet, and we were in like 8th grade. I think that was back when abuse was okay, and it hurt, and we didn't like it. Well, one day he came to practice, and he was in a cast. And, of course, we said, Coach, what happened? He said, well, I broke my forearm hitting something with a forearm, like football. Yes. Oh, yes, thank you, God. So I remember him. He helped carve and mold my character a little bit. Not a very good coach, but then, of course, like I said, Coach Richard in college. One step at a time. I know some people that they want to step out of their comfort zone and they take a giant leap. They go from the couch to something way over here, and it's too far of a leap. They fall flat on their face, and they say, gosh, I'm never going to do that again. Some of the stuff I've done in my life, it was just one step at a time. I had the courage to leave the confidence or the security of a darn good job and a darn good future to go in a different direction, and that was tough. I was a chaplain at a drug and alcohol treatment center. That was interesting. Became a chaplain for law enforcement. Did about 400 volunteer hours. A lot of them were ride-alongs. That was interesting. Went to the police academy. Became a cop. I tell you, when you think of that there's a guy in that building and you have to pull your weapon and go in there and he knows you're coming and you don't know where he is, you just take a deep breath and you go in there hoping he doesn't blow your head off. One step at a time. I didn't go from a citizen to a cop with a gun without lots and lots of training in between. 12 years of prison ministry. That was tough. That was interesting. And then there was, liquidating my life and moving to Honduras. I didn't know if I was going to be there the rest of my life. Turns out it was 3 years. But that was interesting, and that was tough. I guess my point is I took things one step at a time, stepping out of my comfort zone and heading into interesting directions. And along the way, this saying, which I'll get my glasses back, you gain strength and courage and confidence by every experience in which you really stop and look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through that difficult thing, and I can take the next thing that comes my way. Start to build confidence. Whether you're a military leader going through Ranger School, and that's some of the toughest stuff on earth, and that's what they're training them to do, so that when they're in the real world or in their real gunfire, they've got the training. I'll finish with a funny story. One of the most difficult things I had gone through to that point in my life years ago was not physical, but it was emotional. It was going to be tough, and I was nervous to go into that situation. And you remember when they had cassettes in the car? Anybody old enough? Okay, it's after 8 tracks and before CDs, cassettes. And so it was sitting in the thing, and I'm driving along, and I hit a bump, and then in pops Kenny Loggins' Highway to the Danger Zone. I cracked up and said, well, you've got a sense of humor, and took a deep breath and went into that situation, and I did it a good deal. Okay, John, live through it. That's what I encourage us to do, is hang in there, keep going one step at a time. No giant leaps, one step at a time. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through that difficult thing, and I can take the next thing that comes along. So there you go. If you like what you hear, hit like and share. There's somebody that you know that could really use this word today. And if you're going through a hard time, private message me, and maybe we can find a way to help, all right? I'm Dr. Wade Hampton with Hampton Mediation. You have a great day.